Most people live their lives chasing too many things at once. They wake up with a long list of goals, dreams, ideas, and plans, but no clear direction. Their energy is scattered, their attention divided, and their results weak. You see, success doesn't belong to the person who does the most. It belongs to the one who focuses the most. Every great achievement, every powerful breakthrough, every major success in history has one common principle behind it. The ability to concentrate fully on one goal, one purpose, one mission, until it's done. The power of concentration is the hidden key that turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary results. It's not about how hard you work, it's about how concentrated your work is. Imagine a magnifying glass under the sunlight. When the rays are scattered, they provide warmth, but when they are focused through that glass onto one point, they ignite fire. That fire has the power to burn through anything in its path. That's what focus does for you. It channels your mental, emotional, and physical energy in one direction, and that concentration creates intensity, and that intensity leads to achievement. Every time you focus completely on a single task, you increase your power. You tap into the best version of yourself, the part of you that's creative, disciplined, and unstoppable. The truth is, the human mind was not designed to multitask at a high level. It's designed to think deeply, to engage fully, to solve problems one at a time. When you divide your attention, you divide your power. But when you commit your attention, you multiply your results. Think about how many people start new projects, businesses, or habits with excitement, only to drop them halfway through when something else catches their eye. They chase one idea after another, hoping that the next one will finally work. But success doesn't come from chasing opportunities. It comes from cultivating one until it bears fruit. The person who plants 10 seeds and waters none will never see a tree. The one who plants one seed, waters it, protects it, and nourishes it will soon have a forest. Focus gives birth to growth. You must choose that one thing that matters most and pour your energy into it until it becomes something meaningful. You can't build confidence by dabbling in 100 directions. Confidence comes from competence, and competence comes from focus. The more time you give to one skill, one goal, one pursuit, the faster you improve and the better you get. With every hour of focused effort, you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The tragedy is that most people never experience this power because they're too busy switching paths. Every time you switch, you lose momentum. Every time you change directions, you start over. The secret to mastery is to stay. Stay long enough to see progress. Stay focused long enough to see results. Stay committed long enough to experience the compounding power of your consistent attention. When you focus deeply, something incredible happens. You begin to enter a state of flow. In that state, time disappears, distractions fade, and your potential unfolds naturally. You stop thinking about effort, and you start performing effortlessly. This is where genius lives. Every great inventor, athlete, artist, and entrepreneur reached this level not because they were superhuman, but because they focused so intensely on one pursuit that their mind became one with their mission. They practiced, refined, failed, learned, and tried again, all while staying centered on their one main objective. A focus is not just about attention, it's about alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align toward one goal, you move faster, stronger, and more effectively than ever before. But focus requires something rare in today's world: patience. You must be willing to give something your undivided attention long enough to see it grow. In a society that rewards instant results and overnight success, patience is your competitive advantage. Most people give up when things don't move fast enough, but real success builds slowly, quietly, consistently. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, and it's not quick, but it's worth it. Every hour spent focused on one thing builds invisible strength, discipline, resilience, and depth that later becomes visible in the form of results. And to focus, you must protect your attention like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. Your attention is the currency of your success. Every time you give it to distractions, you spend it. Every notification, every meaningless conversation, every hour wasted scrolling steals energy that could have been used to build your dream. The most successful people in the world are not necessarily smarter. They're simply better at saying no. They say no to distractions, to noise, to things that don't align with their purpose. They understand that focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less better. They protect their mental space and create boundaries around their priorities because they know that attention, once lost, is hard to regain. The power of concentration is built through deliberate practice. Just like a muscle, the more you train your mind to focus, the stronger it gets. Start small. Practice finishing one task before starting another. Give your full attention to the person you're talking to, the book you're reading, the goal you're pursuing. Each time you complete something with full concentration, you're rewiring your brain for success. The ability to focus is not a gift, it's a skill. And like every skill, it can be learned, refined, and mastered. The more you train it, the more natural it becomes to tune out the world and tune into your mission. The real magic of focus appears when it meets clarity. Clarity gives your focus direction. Without clarity, a focus is just energy without a target. You can be working hard but still moving in circles if you don't know exactly where you want to go. Clarity is like a compass. It shows you the way, keeps you aligned, and prevents you from wasting effort on things that don't matter. Most people struggle not because they lack effort, but because they lack clarity. They're busy all day but accomplish little because they're not sure what the main thing really is. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. Clarity begins with questions. What do I truly want? What matters most to me right now? What would make the biggest difference in my life if I focused on it completely? When you answer these questions honestly, you begin to cut through the noise. You start seeing what's essential and what's not. Clarity turns confusion into purpose and hesitation into confidence. When you have a clear goal, your mind automatically starts to organize itself around it. Ideas come faster, decisions become easier, and opportunities begin to appear. The universe rewards clarity because it rewards commitment. When you know what you want, you begin to attract the people, resources, and circumstances that help you achieve it. It's almost as if everything begins to move in your favor. That's not luck, it's focus. Your mind is a powerful magnet. It pulls in what you dwell on most. That's why clarity is so powerful. It sets the direction for your focus, and focus provides the energy to move toward it. The combination of the two, clarity and concentration, is unstoppable. But to gain clarity, you must stop chasing everything that shines. You must learn to pause, reflect, and think. Take time to define your purpose. Write down your most important goal in specific terms. What exactly do you want to achieve? By when and why? The act of writing it down makes it real. It turns a vague desire into a concrete target. Once you have that, align your daily actions with that goal. Every day, ask yourself, does what I'm doing right now move me closer to my one thing? If it doesn't, eliminate it. The clearer your goal, the sharper your focus, and the greater your progress. Clarity also gives you confidence. But when you know exactly what you're working toward, you stop doubting yourself. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop getting lost in distractions because your path is clear. You move with certainty and purpose, and that creates inner peace. You no longer feel the need to impress anyone or explain yourself. You simply wake up each day knowing what needs to be done, and you do it. That's the essence of focus, the ability to commit your full energy to one direction without being pulled apart by indecision or fear. When you combine clarity with concentration, you create mastery. Mastery is not a mystery. It's simply the product of doing one thing long enough, well enough, with full attention. Every master began as a beginner who chose one path and refused to quit. They failed, stumbled, adjusted, but they never lost sight of their one purpose. The world remembers them not because they did many things, but because they did one thing so well that it changed everything. So if you want to transform your life, start by finding your one thing. Then give it your full concentration. Remove distractions, define your purpose, and commit to it fully. Focus until progress becomes natural, until clarity turns into conviction, and conviction turns into success. Because the truth is simpler when you focus on one thing long enough, everything else begins to fall into place. Focusing on one thing is not simply about choosing what to do. It's about choosing what not to do. The truth is, your success is determined more by what you eliminate than by what you add. Most people fail not because they lack time, but because they waste it on the wrong things. The average person tries to do too much, chasing one idea after another, saying yes to everyone, and drowning in obligations that don't serve their main purpose. But focus demands discipline. The discipline to say no, to walk away, to simplify. Every truly successful person has mastered this skill. They understand that focus is a process of subtraction. You cannot move fast if you're carrying the weight of everything. You cannot reach high if you're holding on to what holds you back. Every great breakthrough starts with elimination. You must remove the noise before you can hear the signal. That means letting go of distractions, unhealthy habits, unnecessary goals, and people who drain your energy. The discipline of elimination requires courage. The courage to choose one direction and ignore the rest. It means saying no to the good so you can say yes to the great. It means turning down opportunities that look tempting but don't align with your deepest purpose. You can't do everything well. So you must choose the few things that matter most and give them your complete attention. It's easy to be busy. Anyone can fill their day with activity. But being busy is not the same as being productive. You could spend your entire day answering messages, attending meetings, and handling small tasks, and at the end of it feel exhausted, yet no closer to your goal. That's because business gives you the illusion of progress without the results. Focused effort, on the other hand, multiplies results. When you focus on one thing that truly matters, you channel your best energy into what creates real progress. You begin to accomplish in a few hours what used to take days. The discipline of elimination helps you reach this level by forcing you to filter everything through one simple question. Does this move me closer to my main goal? If the answer is no, it's a distraction, remove it. This level of discipline doesn't come overnight. It must be built through daily decisions. Every time you say no to something unimportant, you strengthen your focus muscle. Every time you resist the urge to switch tasks or check your phone, you take control back from the world. You can't control how many distractions exist, but you can control what gets your attention. That control is freedom. Most people think discipline is restriction, but it's actually liberation. The more disciplined you become, the free you feel. You free yourself from chaos, from wasted time, from stress. You free yourself to concentrate, to create, to grow. The person who can control their focus controls their destiny. But the discipline of elimination also applies to your thoughts. You must eliminate mental clutter. Doubts, fears, negative beliefs, and unnecessary worry. Mental noise is just as dangerous as physical distractions. You can't focus when your mind is filled with self-doubt. You can't perform at your best when you keep replaying mistakes or worrying about the future. To focus on one thing, you must train your mind to let go of what doesn't serve you. Replace doubt with action, a fear with faith, and hesitation with decision. Every time you choose clarity over confusion, you strengthen your mental discipline. True focus also demands you manage your environment. Your surroundings shape your attention more than you realize. If your workspace is filled with clutter, your mind will reflect it. If your digital world is full of noise, notifications, social media, endless emails, your brain will constantly be pulled in every direction. You can't expect to think clearly in chaos. Simplify your environment. Remove what's unnecessary. Create a space that supports your goal, not one that competes with it. Make it easy to focus by making distraction difficult. Great performers design their environments intentionally. They don't rely on willpower. They build systems that keep them aligned. Once you master the art of elimination, you'll begin to feel lighter, faster, more in control. You'll start noticing how much mental energy you save by focusing only on what matters. That's when you'll experience the next great truth. The law of single-minded effort. This law states that whatever you focus on consistently and single-mindedly, you move toward. Your life begins to shape itself around the dominant thought in your mind. The more you think about something, the more you attract opportunities, ideas, and people that relate to it. Focus is magnetic. When your energy is concentrated in one direction, it draws everything you need to succeed. The law of single-minded effort means that when you commit to one thing, and I mean truly commit, you set invisible forces in motion. Your brain becomes sharper. You begin to notice patterns others miss. You develop instincts, intuition, and insight that only come from deep engagement. You stop guessing and start knowing. Your work improves because your attention deepens. You find solutions faster because your mind is fully invested. The longer you focus on one thing, the more momentum you build. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human achievement. Once you start building it, it's hard to stop. Each success feeds the next. Each step forward gives you strength for the next climb. But here's what most people don't understand. Single-minded focus feels slow at first. In the beginning, you'll be tempted to quit. You'll look around and see others doing multiple things, moving faster, and you'll wonder if you're behind. But then, as time passes, something incredible happens. While others burn out and lose direction, you begin to gain depth. Your skill sharpens, your understanding deepens, your results multiply. Focus creates compound growth. What starts as slow progress turns into unstoppable momentum. The person who focuses on one thing for years becomes untouchable in that field. They don't compete. They dominate. Look at any champion in any field. Their success wasn't accidental. It came from obsession. The athlete who wins the gold medal didn't dabble in 10 sports. They focused on one. The writer who produces masterpieces didn't write in every genre. They mastered their craft. The entrepreneur who built an empire didn't chase 100 business ideas. They stayed loyal to one vision until it became reality. This law of single-minded effort applies to everyone, everywhere. Whatever you pour your mind into consistently expands. Whatever you divide your attention between weakens. That's the simple equation of success. Focus creates energy, and energy creates results. The moment you focus, you align your actions with your purpose, and your productivity multiplies. You stop wasting effort on random motion and start moving in one straight line toward your destination. The clarity of that direction gives you confidence. You wake up knowing exactly what needs to be done, and that certainty removes stress. You begin to operate with rhythm, each day building on the last. Your results no longer depend on luck, but on consistency. The secret to extraordinary performance isn't magic, it's focus applied over time. Single-minded effort also shapes your character. It teaches patience, resilience, and endurance. When you stick with one goal long enough, you face every challenge that comes with it. You learn to solve problems, adapt, and grow stronger. Each obstacle refines you. Every setback becomes a teacher. Every small win builds belief. Over time, you become the kind of person who doesn't just dream of success, you create it. That's the real power of focus. It transforms you from the inside out. It builds strength in your mind, confidence in your heart, and precision in your actions. The law of single-minded effort also brings something most people never experience. Flow. When you immerse yourself completely in one pursuit, you lose yourself in it. Time slows down. You stop thinking about yourself, your problems, your doubts. You become one with your work. That's when creativity bursts open, when innovation happens, when greatness emerges. This state is not reserved for the gifted. It's available to anyone willing to focus deeply and long enough on one meaningful goal. And the beauty of focus is that it simplifies your entire life. You stop feeling scattered because your mind is organized around one mission. You stop overthinking because your direction is clear. You stop comparing because you know your path. When you focus on one thing, the noise of the world fades. You no longer chase everything. You attract what belongs to your purpose. Focus gives you control, direction, and peace. So remember this, every moment you spend diluted in many things weakens your impact. Every moment you spend concentrated on one thing strengthens it. Your energy is limited. Use it wisely. Don't let your focus be stolen by distractions, doubts, or diversions. Protect it. Guard it. Direct it like a laser toward your main purpose. Because the person who learns to focus on one thing long enough doesn't just reach their goal. They become unstoppable. Focus means nothing if it is not sustained. Many people begin with passion, but very few have persistence. They start strong, fueled by motivation, but fade the moment obstacles appear. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve lies in endurance. The quiet determination to stay focused long after the excitement is gone. Because in truth, everything worthwhile takes time. You can't rush growth, you can't shortcut mastery. Every success that lasts is built through years of consistent focus, steady effort, and unwavering belief. Persistence is the bridge between intention and achievement. It transforms your focus into something unstoppable. Most people underestimate the power of time. They give something a few days, a few weeks, or a few months, and when results don't come, they give up. They tell themselves it's not working, that maybe they're not capable, or that they chose the wrong path. But success doesn't show up quickly. It hides behind resistance. The moment you feel like quitting is often the moment you're closest to breakthrough. Persistence means staying when others leave, continuing when others stop, and pushing forward even when you can't yet see results. Because what you do consistently over time compounds. Every day that you stay focused builds invisible progress. It may not be visible to others. It may not even feel significant to you, but it's happening. Just like a seed underground, your effort is growing roots. It's developing strength, stability, and potential. Then one day, all at once, it breaks through the surface, and people call it sudden success. But there's no such thing as sudden success. There's only silent preparation. The hours no one saw, the patience no one understood, the perseverance that no one celebrated. That's where greatness grows, in the persistence that nobody notices. Persistence is not glamorous. It's retiring. It's often lonely, but it's the only path that guarantees progress. You don't have to be the smartest or the most talented person in the room. You only have to be the one who refuses to give up. The world eventually moves aside for the person who keeps moving forward. Every time you persist, you build resilience. You train your mind to handle difficulty. You become stronger, calmer, more certain. What used to discourage you begins to motivate you. What once seemed impossible starts to feel inevitable. Persistence reshapes your identity. It turns you from someone who tries into someone who triumphs. And remember, focus and persistence work together. Focus gives you direction. Persistence keeps you on the path. Without persistence, focus fades at the first sign of failure. Without focus, persistence becomes wasted effort. Together, they create unstoppable momentum. Every obstacle becomes just another part of the process. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a stepping stone. The longer you stay focused, the more you learn. The more you learn, the faster you grow. And the faster you grow, the closer you move to mastery. You can't buy persistence. You build it. You build it by doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. You build it by showing up on the days when it's hard, boring, or uncomfortable. You build it by reminding yourself why you started in the first place. When your goal matters deeply enough, quitting stops being an option. That's why clarity is so important. When your purpose is strong, persistence becomes natural. You stop asking, how long will it take? And start saying, as long as it takes. Because when you truly care about your one thing, you stop counting the cost. You simply do what's required. Persistence also builds patience, a rare quality in a world that worships speed. We've been conditioned to want everything instantly, instant results, instant recognition, instant reward. But real success doesn't work like that. Growth takes time because transformation takes time. You can't rush the process of becoming better. You can't fast forward experience. The greatest reward of persistence isn't just the goal itself, it's who you become while pursuing it. You become more disciplined, more confident, more capable. Every time you persist through challenge, you add strength to your character. The achievement may fade, but the person you become never does. Sometimes persistence looks like quiet endurance, working in silence while no one believes in you. Sometimes it looks like standing tall after failure, refusing to be defined by defeat. Sometimes it's just about taking one more step when you feel you have nothing left. But every single act of persistence adds up. Eventually, all the effort you've invested reaches a tipping point, and that's when success appears. People will call you lucky. They won't see that luck was just persistence in disguise. The truth is, the longer you stay focused on one thing, the more the universe aligns with you. Opportunities begin to appear because you've stayed long enough to see them. The longer you persist, the deeper your understanding grows. The deeper your understanding, the smarter your actions become. That's how you move from struggle to mastery. Time rewards those who stay committed. And when you finally reach your goal, you realize something profound. Focus and persistence didn't just give you success. They gave you freedom. Because when you focus on one thing and stick with it, life becomes simpler, lighter, and more peaceful. You stop chasing everything and start attracting what belongs to you. You no longer live by reaction, you live by intention. You no longer spend energy trying to please everyone, you give it to what matters. Focus gives your life direction, and persistence gives it depth. Together, they create freedom. The kind of freedom that comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and what you're building toward. When you learn to focus on one thing, you free yourself from the constant noise of the world. You stop feeling pulled in 100 directions. You stop comparing your path to others. You stop doubting whether you're doing enough. You begin to live with clarity. Your mind becomes calm, your choices become deliberate, and your days begin to have meaning. That peace is priceless, because it's not the kind of peace that comes from escaping challenges. It's the peace that comes from mastering them. Focused living also creates flow. You wake up every day with a clear purpose, and that purpose becomes your compass. It guides your decisions, shapes your habits, and determines how you spend your time. You start to feel in control again, not because everything is easy, but because everything has meaning. The small tasks you once ignored now connect to something bigger. Every moment becomes part of your mission. You stop surviving days and start living them. When you focus deeply, you begin to notice beauty in the process. You stop rushing for the result because you fall in love with the work itself. That's when you find joy, not in achievement, but in growth. True fulfillment doesn't come from what you get, it comes from who you become. Focused living turns ordinary days into meaningful progress. It transforms work into purpose, effort into legacy. And as you simplify your life around one main goal, something powerful happens. Distractions lose their power over you. You no longer crave validation because your fulfillment comes from progress, not approval. You no longer fear missing out because you know what's worth missing. You no longer feel overwhelmed because your priorities are clear. That's the quiet power of focus. It gives you mastery over yourself. A freedom through focus also means you control your time instead of letting time control you. Most people live reactively, jumping from one urgency to another, never truly feeling caught up. But when you focus on one thing, your schedule reflects your values. You no longer fill your days with meaningless activity. You fill them with meaningful effort. You begin to work smarter, not harder. You achieve more with less stress because every action has purpose. When you focus, life stops being chaotic and starts being intentional. You learn to slow down, to think clearly, to act decisively. You discover that peace and power can coexist, that calm focus creates unstoppable momentum. You stop depending on motivation because discipline takes its place. You stop needing permission because clarity gives you confidence. The more you focus on one thing, the more everything else begins to align. Opportunities that once seemed random start to connect. People who share your vision begin to appear. Circumstances begin to favor you, not by chance, but by consistency. Focus sharpens your intuition. You start sensing what's right for you without overthinking. You begin to trust your path. And then one day, you look back and realize how far you've come. Not because you rushed, but because you stayed. You didn't scatter your energy. You directed it. You didn't chase everything. You mastered one thing. You didn't give up when it got hard. You persisted. That's the real definition of success. Not instant results, not easy victories, but the quiet satisfaction of knowing you gave your all to one purpose and made it happen. When you live like this, with focus, persistence, and clarity, you become unshakable. You no longer need to search for motivation because your mission fuels you. You no longer get lost in distractions because your direction is fixed. You no longer wonder whether you can make it because you've already proven you can endure. That's the beauty of a focused life. It gives you strength, peace, and fulfillment all at once. So stay the course. Keep your eyes on your one thing. Focus on it with all your heart, persist through every challenge, and never lose faith in the process. Because once you master focus, everything else falls into place. Success, peace, confidence, and the quiet freedom of knowing you are living life exactly the way it was meant to be lived on purpose.